Drop a like and do share. Leave your comments and do not forget to subscribe for more videos.
Hi, I'm Dr. Nidhi Khare. In the previous lecture on organization culture profile, that is part A, I discussed about which are the values which characterize an organization's culture. Now, even though culture may not be immediately observable, identifying a set of values that might be used to describe an organization's culture helps us identify, measure, and manage culture more effectively. For this purpose, several researchers have proposed various culture typologies, and few important ones have already been discussed before. Now, one typology that has received a lot of research attention is the Organizational Culture Profile, or the OCP, in which culture is represented by 7 distinct values. The 7 distinct values are innovative, aggressive, outcome-oriented, stable, people-oriented, team-oriented, and detail-oriented. Now, as you can see, this figure shows a profile comparison approach to assess the fit between person and organization. Now, out of these 7 values, 3 of the values, which are innovative, aggressive, and outcome oriented, have already been discussed in the previous lecture. Now today I am going to discuss rest of the 4 values. Coming to stable value. Stable cultures are predictable, rule oriented, and bureaucratic. These organizations aim to coordinate and align individual effort for greatest levels of efficiency. When the environment is stable and certain, these cultures may help the organization be effective by providing stable and constant levels of output. These cultures prevent quick action and as a result may be a misfit to a changing and dynamic environment. Public sector institutions may be viewed as stable cultures. In the private sector, Kraft Foods Incorporation is an example of a company with centralized decision making and rule orientation that suffered as a result of the culture environment mismatch. Its bureaucratic culture is blamed for killing good ideas in early stages and preventing the company from innovating. When the company started a change program to increase the agility of its culture, one of their first actions was to fight bureaucracy with more bureaucracy. They created the new positions of VP of Business Process Simplification, which was later eliminated. Coming to people-oriented cultures. People-oriented cultures value fairness, supportiveness, and respect for individual rights. These organizations truly live the mantra that people are their greatest assets. In addition to having fair procedures and management styles, these companies create an atmosphere where work is fun and employees do not feel required to choose between work and other aspects of their lives. In these organizations, there is a greater emphasis on an expectation of treating people with respect and dignity. One study of new employees in accounting companies found that employees on average stayed 14 months longer in companies with people-oriented cultures. Starbucks Corporation is an example of a people-oriented culture. The company pays employees above minimum wage. It offers health care and tuition reimbursement benefits to its part-time as well as full-time employees, and has creative perks such as weekly free coffee for all its associates. As a result of these policies, the company benefits from turnover rate lower than the industry average. The company is routinely ranked as one of the best places to work by Fortune magazine. Team-oriented cultures. Companies with team-oriented cultures are collaborative and emphasize cooperation among employees. For example, Southwest Airlines Company facilitates a team-oriented culture by cross-training its employees so that they are capable of helping each other when needed. The company also places emphasis on training intact work teams. Employees participate in twice daily meetings named Morning Overview Meetings (MOM) and Daily Afternoon Discussions (DAD), where they collaborate to understand sources of problems and determine future courses of action. In Southwest selection system, applicants who are not viewed as team players are not hired at all as employees. In team-oriented organizations, members tend to have more positive relationships with their co-workers and particularly with their managers. Detail-oriented cultures. Organizations with detail-oriented cultures are characterized in the OCP framework as emphasizing precision and paying attention to details. Such a culture gives a competitive advantage to companies in the hospitality industry by helping them differentiate themselves from others. For example, Four Seasons Hotels Limited and the Ritz-Carlton Company LLC are among hotels who keep records of all customer requests, such as which newspaper the guest prefers or what type of pillow the customer uses. This information is put into a computer system and used to provide better service to returning customers. Any requests hotel employees receive as well as overhear might be entered into the database to serve customers better. Such clear attention to detail is an effective way of impressing customers and ensuring repeat visits. McDonald's Corporation is another company that specifies in detail how employees should perform their job by including photos of exactly how French fries and hamburgers should look when prepared properly. Service culture. Now, service culture is not one of the dimensions of OCP, but given the importance of the retail industry in the overall economy, having a service culture can make or break an organization. Some of the organizations that have been illustrated before, such as Southwest Airlines, Ritz-Carlton, and Four Seasons, are also famous for their service culture. In these organizations, employees are trained to serve the customer well, and cross-training is the norm. Employees are empowered to resolve customer problems in ways they see fit. Because employees with direct customer contact are in the best position to resolve any issues, employee empowerment is truly valued in these companies. For example, Umpqua Bank, operating in the northwestern United States, is known for its service culture. All employees are trained in all tasks to enable any employee to help customers when needed. Branch employees may come up with unique ways in which they serve customers better, such as opening their lobby for community events or keeping bowls full of water for customers' pets. The branches feature coffee for customers, and withdrawn funds are given on a tray along with a piece of chocolate. They also reward employee service performance through bonuses and incentives. What differentiates companies with service culture from those without such a culture may be the desire to solve customer-related problems proactively. In other words, in these cultures, employees are engaged in their jobs and personally invested in improving customer experience such that they identify issues and come up with solutions without necessarily being told what to do. For example, a British Airways baggage handler noticed that first class passengers were waiting a long time for their baggage, whereas standby passengers often received their baggage first. Noticing this tendency, a baggage handler notified his superiors about this problem, along with the suggestion to load first class passenger luggage first. So you see how different is service culture. Now, as you can see in this figure shows the growth in the number of passengers flying with Southwest Airlines from 1973 until 2007. Southwest surpassed American Airlines as the most flown domestic airline. While price has played a role in this, their emphasis on service has been a key piece of their culture and competitive advantage. Safety culture. Some jobs are safety sensitive. For example, logger, aircraft pilot, fishing worker, steel worker, and roofer are among the top 10 most dangerous jobs in the United States. In organizations where safety sensitive jobs are performed, creating and maintaining a safety culture provides a competitive advantage. Because the organization can reduce accidents, maintain high levels of morale and employee retention, and increase profitability by cutting workers' compensation insurance costs. Some companies suffer severe consequences when they are unable to develop such a culture. For example, British Petroleum experienced an explosion in their Texas City, Texas refinery in 2005, which led to the death of 15 workers while injuring 170. In December 2007, the company announced that it had already depleted the $1.6 billion fund to be used in claims for this explosion. A safety review panel concluded that the development of a safety culture was essential to avoid such occurrences in the future. In companies that have a safety culture, there is a strong commitment to safety starting at management level and trickling down to lower levels. MB Herzog Electric Incorporation of California, selected as one of America's safest companies by Occupational Hazards magazine in 2007, had a zero accident rate for the past 3 years. The company uses safety training programs which are tailored to specific jobs within the company, and all employees are encouraged to identify all safety hazards they come across when they are performing their jobs. They are also asked to play the role of an OSHA. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So they are also expected to play the role of an OSHA inspector for a day to become more aware of the hidden dangers in the workplace. Managers play a key role in increasing the level of safe behaviors in the workplace because they can motivate employees day to day to demonstrate safe behaviors and act as safety role models. A recent study has shown that in organizations with a safety culture, leaders encourage employees to demonstrate behaviors such as volunteering for safety committees, making recommendations to increase safety, protecting co-workers from hazards, whistleblowing, and in general trying to make their jobs safer. Strength of culture. A strong culture is one that is shared by organizational members. In other words, if most employees in the organization show consensus regarding the values of the company, it is possible to talk about the existence of a strong culture. A culture's content is more likely to affect the way employees think and behave when the culture in question is strong. For example, cultural values emphasizing customer service will lead to higher quality customer service if there is widespread agreement among employees on the importance of customer service related values. It is important to realize that a strong culture may act as an asset or liability for the organization depending on the types of values that are shared. For example, imagine a company with a culture that is strongly outcome oriented. If this value system matches the organizational environment, the company outperforms its competitors. On the other hand, a strong outcome oriented culture coupled with unethical behaviors and an obsession with quantitative performance indicators may be detrimental to an organization's effectiveness. An extreme example of this dysfunctional type of strong culture is Enron. A strong culture may sometimes outperform a weak culture because of the consistency of expectations. In a strong culture, members know what is expected of them, and the culture serves as an effective control mechanism on member behaviors. Research shows that strong cultures lead to more stable corporate performance in stable environments. However, in volatile environments, the advantages of culture strength disappears. One limitation of a strong culture is the difficulty of changing a strong culture. If an organization with a widely shared beliefs decides to adopt a different set of values, unlearning the old values and learning the new ones will be a challenge because employees will need to adopt new ways of thinking, behaving, and responding to critical events. For example, the Home Depot had a decentralized, autonomous culture where many business decisions were made using gut feeling while ignoring the available data. When Robert Nardelli became CEO of the company in 2000, he decided to change its culture, starting with centralizing many of the decisions that were previously left to individual stores. This initiative met with substantial resistance, and many high level employees left during his first year. Despite getting financial results such as doubling the sales of the company, many of the changes he made were criticized. He left the company in January 2007. So you see how the strength of a culture affects an organization. So today we discussed about the 7 values of the OCP, and we also discussed about safety cultures, and we also discussed about the strength of culture. So I hope you have a fair idea and you have understood the role of culture strength. You have understood the different dimensions of organization culture today. This is the work cited for your convenience. Thank you.